class, it's me, Amanda Monday, your instructor for this social media marketing online course. Of course, you know me because we chat every week, but I thought since it's online video week, it makes sense to record a short video message to you and say hi in person, sort of video. You know how it is. So I'm here broadcasting to you currently from my Innovation Nook at home. This is where I work sometimes from home. This is where I read all of your wonderful assignments and your discussion posts and also record all of my lectures. So this is where all of the magic happens. Pretty glorious in a way, right? So I have some notes here and things that I wanted to quickly chat about with you this week. First of all, it's, as I mentioned, week 9, video week. Video is compelling. Video tells a story. Video is an extension of the emotion that we discussed last week with visual storytelling. And so video is just carrying through the images and those messages through into video with music, live action, etc. It also allows us to bring in animation and start to talk about different sorts of training videos and other types of video that you might introduce in your brand that isn't necessarily marketing focused. So there are interesting opportunities for brands in video beyond just B2C, although it makes sense that a business to consumer focused brand would at least have a conversation about video. There's a test next week, so get studying on that. The bonus is no homework this week. As the test is a turns test, and what that means is we've, over the length of this course, talked about tools. So we've been looking at, a whole range from Facebook and Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, etc. I want to make sure that you have a good understanding of the intricacies between the tools, some of the key features, and just the language. And the idea is that if you were to go off and become a social media consultant, if you're not already, if you're looking for a promotion, if you're looking for work in social media or social media marketing, you need to be able to be authentic with the way that you talk about the tools and also make sure that you just know your stuff. Also, we need a good evaluation model, and I like tests as a way to offer something other than a writing or creative submission for students. So there it is. Test next week, and it'll be administered online, and your browser will be locked down when you complete the test, and hopefully, I'm sure you'll all do well. Although I've only ever had one student get perfect on a test, so there's my challenge to you. Other things to note, I'm still getting through marking, so if you haven't received some feedback from me on LinkedIn or even possibly Twitter, if you sent it in late, I did receive it. It's just as assignments come in late, that piles onto the assignments that were handed in on time, so I try to make sure to always mark assignments that were handed in on time first, and then do the late ones after that. So there's a bit of a backlog, but I'm working through it, and you should hear from me soon. Next week, we're wrapping up tools. So from weeks 10 through 14, we're really getting into content and community management. And so hopefully you feel like you have a good understanding of the social landscape, at least after this week. And then we're going to get into community management, content calendars, talk about influencers and advocates. We're going to talk a bit about mobile as an overall approach in social, and then I'm going to also just give you a little bit of cloud and cloud productivity because I think that it's closely tied to social and worth discussing, so I'm going to walk you through that. In week 14 are your presentations, so you tell us about what you've learned through these past 14 weeks, things that you've been building, thoughts that you've had, things that you've maybe implemented, and the description of how to build that presentation is up on Blackboard for you to review. A word on video. Hopefully you've watched this lecture first, and then if you're going through Blackboard correctly, you'll get this video first, and then you'll see a whole bunch of video links that I've uploaded, and then my lecture is sort of the last thing before some of the readings. And part of the reason why I want you to go through that order this week is because I'd like you to watch some of the examples of YouTube videos and some good brand examples, and then hear me talk about them. And part of that is that I can talk about brands all day and I can talk about video case studies, but I think it's more important for you to experience it. And when I teach this class in person, we spend most of the 3 hours watching YouTube videos and a lot less time with me at the front of the room talking at you. And actually, there's a lot of discussion that happens with videos and how they make us feel and what they did well, how much did they cost, what do we think about the production value of that video. So that's the lens that I'd like you to take as you're watching my examples this week. As you're watching some of those videos, make note of, obviously production value, but also think a bit about how much do you think this cost, how much time do you think this put together, what resources were needed for that video, because that will help to spark some conversation in the discussion boards this week. It'll also relate to some of the pieces that I'm going to talk about in my lecture. And lastly, stay tuned. So it's YouTube, Vimeo, and Vine. I'm a pretty big fan of Vine. It's the first tool in quite a long time that's really presented itself as, oh, the word revolutionary feels too much, but it's presented itself as unique. And I can actually see that the whole video medium is changing from this hard, long, somewhat technical knowledge required platform to something that anybody can do with a mobile phone. For starters, just an iPhone. So there are some interesting opportunities for Vines. I won't tell you too much more about it because it's a sneak peek for the lecture this week. But if you are not yet on Vine and you have an iPhone, I would encourage you to meet me over in the Vine platform because it's definitely an early adopter stage, which presents a really unique opportunity for brands in particular, but also just for users who want to sort of get into that early adopter phase, which is really a fun time in a tool when there aren't that many users and people who are there are close, and it's a close community of people who are trying and testing and seeing what works and what doesn't. That's how you become a quote-unquote expert in a tool. So if you can, jump on in and join me on Vine. That's it. I look forward to chatting with you online as always. I love all of your posts. I read them every day, even though I try to hold back my responses to allow you to talk to each other. But I see you and look forward to talking video this week. Ciao.